This friend of mine actually is pretty cool. She does consumer marketing insights and does a lot of marketing research. Does a lot of focus groups, mystery shopping. She'll have to explain that stuff to me later on. But, a lot of the stuff you understand, it's about research and training and development and that kind of good stuff. And, like us, she's got a psychology background. And her name is Royalyn Reed, and Royalyn is here in the studio. How are you doing this evening, Royalyn?
Hey, Ashley, just fine.
Well, it's great to have you.
Glad to be here with you guys.
Awesome. Well, we like it. We like it. This is good. We like when people are here and have good attitudes and good positive stuff.
That's right.
So, chime in with me. Okay, so this is the deal I'm talking about is, getting out that notebook, making those changes, and there's something when you're making these life choices, you have to think about it. When you're allowing other people to make choices for you, which a lot of us do, it's almost like when you think about a written medical directive, right? A medical directive, right, is to say, hey, if something bad happens to me, and I can't make the decisions for myself, you need to pull the plug or you need to keep me on life support, right? I mean, that's big because I can't make the decision. Now, why do we give that kind of power, right, to other people when we're alive and we can make decisions and we're not in our deathbed?
Ashley, so often I don't even think people stop to think how much power we have. First of all, what we really need to remember is the most power we have over anyone is ourselves. But so often we're focusing outwards. And just think in that self-talk and what we tell ourselves over and over again.
I like that. And that's so true because you have to go to bed. You have to wake up with yourself. It's your mind, right? I mean, you're not the mind of, I'm not in your mind. Bill, I'm not your mind.
That's probably a good thing because, I'm scared to be in my own mind sometimes.
Well, I've put an aluminum hat on and kind of moved around the antennas a little bit, and I've listened to your brain a little bit, but I threw that hat away. I threw it away.
That was you.
Yes, and I threw it away, though. I don't want to do it ever again. Never again.
I scared you, didn't I?
I swear. And all that's holy. I'm not going to do that again. So, it's so thinking about, the whole idea of written directives. So what's really important in your life? It's I think that people should be able to make their daily decisions, and I think that's kind of the meat and potato of it. Is a lot of times we don't want to take credit for what we do. I mean, we want to take credit for the good stuff, but we don't want to take credit for the other stuff because nobody wants to take the blame, even though that's kind of like what society's become. Companies, people that do the wrong thing, they don't want to say that they did it.
Exactly, and it goes both ways. We have to look at ourselves, but we also have to allow people the opportunity to make mistakes.
Right.
And that goes both ways as well. It's okay if someone makes a mistake. Don't take it so personally sometimes, because sometimes it's not even about us. People aren't thinking. I mean, we all say things, but let's just not be so sensitive about certain things sometimes.
I agree. I mean, sensitivity, and that's kind of an emotional thing too. It's sometimes you don't know where people are emotionally, but you don't want to have to try to make judgments on an emotional, catechism, I guess you'd have to say, about other people. And let's talk about, when you're getting up, you're standing up for your rights. And, this is a big anger part, because it can cause panic and stress in people when they don't speak their mind, and I think a lot of times it can cause stress and anxiety trying to make those changes because it's something that we're not used to.
And that is so true. It goes back to, it's almost like it says, listen, look before you leap. Think before you speak. All those little things we used to hear when we were younger, some of that makes a difference. And sometimes it's important just to ask. Sometimes when people say something and we jump to conclusions, it's okay to say, what did you mean by that? And most times you'll find out it wasn't even what you thought. Usually we are programmed just as humans to think the worst. And that's another thing we have to really be careful of.
The ask thing is very important because when we ask people to clarify themselves, it makes everything real. And a lot of times, like texting is one of the worst things I've known. And sitting here, I know people in this room that have received text and given text that nobody knew what was going on. And so they thought one thing was the situation, and it was completely misconstrued. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Communication is so difficult for us as humans because so often what we think is based on our own perceptions, our experiences, our backgrounds, and they're so diverse and different. And it could even be just how we're feeling that day or something we saw on TV or a song we heard. And so a lot of times, too, we just take all of that with us, and then somebody else is another place, and just that communication is missing itself.
That's true, and perceptions here is called perspectives here. So the chosen perspectives is
right.
dosed on the fact that whatever happened in my past, based upon whatever my family, my upbringing, my childhood, what kind of BS that I got at playing outside, when you're in fifth grade playing kickball or stickball,
Yes.
and was it a good experience? Was it a bad
That's right.
experience? Was I bullied? Was I the bully? Was I just somewhere in the middle? And a lot of that stuff really frames your life. Like I have a friend that was used to be thrown in a locker all the time, and we were good friends since middle school. And now he's got a family and lots of kids, and he's a large, well-to-do person. But it's crazy when you go through those things that like really shock you, and those things that
That's
happen,
right.
it scares
That's
you.
right.
And you make
That's right.
decisions and snap judgments on people maybe because they remind you of something that happened in the past.
Absolutely. And that's where we just have to just make a difference. And that's why I think those 7 keys that you're talking about of making a difference and a change in your life, it's just so important. We have to go back, and those are just going back to the basics. Really, the basic things that make a difference. It goes, and part of the basics are how do we simplify life? If we can keep it simple, it helps us going to bed at night, getting up. It just makes things so much better.
Well, like my dad used to say, keep it simple, stupid. And it was KISS.
Had merit. Absolutely. It had merit. All those things made a difference, and they still do now.
He was right on, and I didn't really like the attitude, or I guess the tone. The tone. Isn't that like a female thing? I don't like your tone.
Oh, it's totally a female thing.
Did
Yes,
you have to say it in that
absolutely. 'Cause,
tone?
yeah, women are more in touch with the emotional, so they can hear it in other people's voices.
What's your middle name?
My middle name, Franklin.
William Franklin Barnett.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My mom especially was good at that. Because you know how sarcastic I can be, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just a tiny bit.
Just a
yeah.
tiny bit.
And so she'd tell me what to do to start to lecture me, and and I'd be like, yes, mother. And
not the rolling of the eyes. He just rolled the eyes. I know.
I rolled the eyes and everything, and did the tone
and he's
of
got
voice.
the hand action going.
And and that would just send her through the roof.
He's making a showing that she's going through the roof with the hand, and I think that's across the board though. A lot of times it's all about tone, and the problem is
That's
that we're
right.
sending text messages. There is no tone. I mean,
That's
you can add like the smileys and the emoticons and all that kind of stuff, which is great, except for when people go crazy and add like frogs and this and that. You have no idea what's going on. There's an alien head there. I mean, am I supposed to be thinking outside the box? You know what I mean? Where am I? Am I on planet Earth, or are we going to decide something else from another place? I mean, do I have gravity? Is there gravity?
How about the abbreviations sometimes, like SMH? It took me forever to figure that one out, what that one meant.
I don't even know what that means.
Smacking my head.
Oh, wow. Okay. As he smacks his head in the studio. I mean, did that hurt? I don't even know half of those, but we'll talk about that when we come back.